Cancer doesn't care your economic background. It doesn't care what race you are. It doesn't care about your social status. When it comes for you, it will come for you no matter what you thought you have built up in this life. That would be, I'm just a guy that works hard, that does a lot in the community, active in the church.
Oh, how he loves you so. And oh.
I'm an avid cyclist. I love to work out. I'm a go-getter. I've been highly self-motivated through my 51 years on this planet. And I love just learning new things. Yeah, something wasn't right. Like I'm an avid cyclist and being in an endurance sport, you kind of learn your body. And we ride a lot of miles. At that point, I think I was doing about 350 miles a week training and stuff like that. And on the team, I kind of have this reputation of being pretty fast and pretty fit. And I just wasn't giving the guys the business like I normally would be doing. It was just a lot of effort. I give you everything I have, but my body was not responding the same. So if I wanted to go an extra 5 miles an hour, it was a struggle. Or coming out the curve or the corner trying to chase somebody down was a struggle. And then I started noticing that my leg was swelling. And I lift weights a lot. I do spin class a lot. I said, well, maybe I hurt my back. So I started going to my chiropractor. And we worked on it and worked on it. And she said, this is not getting better. Just like your leg is swelling. And we thought it was a sciatica nerve, but it wasn't. And I was like, okay. And she said, well, maybe you need to go see your internal specialist. Went to the internal specialist. We was thinking maybe I had kidney stones or something bacteria was related was causing me to experience this. Yes, my blood wasn't giving them anything. They would run my blood and it would come back good. There was no signs of lymphoma. I look at it as if it was the perfect storm. And at the end, when she checked me out, she was like, well, you look healthy, there's nothing wrong. Your blood looks fine. She said, but how about we just do a CAT scan, just out the blue? And she set me up for a CAT scan. And that's when we had that oh my moment. Well, with my cancer, it was so prevalent that my doctor thought I might have had it for years and didn't even know it, right? It had completely taken over my stomach, into my lung, everywhere. So we're sitting there, and my doctor, he, I could see the fright in his eyes when he saw that, but he could see the tenacity in my eyes that he wasn't going to tell me that. So when he told me what it was, and you're familiar with it, they go over options, and I had R-CHOP, which was pretty nasty, and this and that. That moment, I had to make a conscious decision. Why not me? And what are you going to do about it? There weren't any time for tears. I didn't cry at all. And I sat there and made a decision. I looked him in the face and I said, okay, game on. Let's go. That moment, I made a decision because I had to let the cancer know in my body that I'm not giving you victory in my mind this quickly. Now, I cried later. I remember here at home, I went for a walk and we have a pond in my neighborhood. So I sat out there on the pond bench. And that's when I had my moment. I remember I picked up the phone, called my mom, because I'm the first child. I'm the oldest grandchild. A lot of legacy, right? And I remember telling my mom, I don't want to die. She said, what are you talking about? And I started crying. And that's when I told her. I told my mom. And my wife, LaMonica, she was there. So she knew, but she just was frightened. She didn't know what to say or what to do. And then I told one of my best friends, so 3 people. And but it hit me when I was talking to my mom. That's the person that birthed me, right? And it was devastating. The crying just kind of released that in me. It was like a free. I felt free. It was a freeness that came over me. There was a calm and a peace that came over me. and I felt like it's necessary. It was acceptance. The crying for me was symbolic of me accepting what was happening because it's real. So I think getting that crying out and releasing that helped me further along in my process versus me doing it at a time that wouldn't be optimal. This was at the very beginning, and I did all that crying. And I did a lot of crying, but I was doing soul searching too. Like, Tony, you have done this, you have came through this, you have broken through this ceiling, you have done all of these things. You can do that too. And that's how I approached it, and it helped me. That's what I did. But after that conversation, I zipped those tears up. I said, "This is not a crying situation. It's time to go. Time to go to work." I almost created this. I think I told you I created this alternate reality. The Tony that's talking to you now is kind and compassionate and caring. But I created another Tony that was violent, and I met cancer with force and violence. I created this warrior mentality like, no, you coming for me, I'm going to come for you. That's what I did. And that kind of kept me in that space that no matter what my doctor said, I had already told myself that we're going to beat this. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to overcome this.
So I'm here. Process has started. Stuck to a couple of things. Not sure what. But it's all good.
But sometimes when you just take that faith that you have, because faith is something that you really can't see, so you got to put it in something, right? Either you're going to believe in the doctor or you're going to rely on your faith in God or something. And I chose to rely on that. And I held on to that. And as a result, every time I get low, I feel like I can't make it, I just recall on that. I'm hoping and believing in the outcome that I want to see happen. And I encourage everybody that's in our situation, yours and mine, and everybody that's on the story here, that grab faith and believe, because that's where the battle starts. It starts right here. Physically, you can do all you can, but if you lose the battle here in the very beginning, you're fighting an uphill battle, because now you're battling your belief that you can even be healed from this, or that you can be cured from this.
Out here at the big house. Just got here. I'm ready to go in and meet my doctor. So I'm ready to get hot and heavy now.
I left my my local doctor, and I went to UNC hospital system, and that's where I met Dr. Bowles, who's my oncologist, and we talked about my treatment plan, and he gave me all the options, and he encouraged me to get a second opinion, but I already knew. It's like when you know, you know. And when I looked that man in the eyes, I could see a caring, compassionate person that was concerned for me. And that's important, because a lot of us sometimes get a physician or someone that doesn't have good bedside manner, or just matter of fact, or they bring gloom to your situation and you already know it's gloomy. But he didn't do that. He talked to me like it's almost like the big brother going to the little brother that's a doctor, and you putting your trust in the little brother now because he has a skill set that you don't have. That's kind of relationship he and I have. I was the big brother. I was relying on him as my little brother to take care of me. And one thing he told me, he said, Tony, by nature, you're not a selfish person. He said, just by, you employ people and you started a cycling club, and you did all these things, you give a lot to just people. He said, but I need you to be selfish. This is the one time you would have to be the most selfish in your life. And he said, you have to block out all the background noise, all the chatter, stay off of Google. Don't inundate yourself enough that you understand what's going on with you, but don't deep dive to the point that it causes hysteria. He gave me all those words of advice, and I said, that's what I'm going to do. And I even said, I told him, I said, I will not let family and friends imprint on me. We're going through enough as is. We know our odds. We know the percentages. We know what we're facing. And sometimes those loved ones, just their mere concern for you and all the emotions they bring to the situation will compound your situation. So even you have to put them at arm's length And you can't take on what they're saying, because sometimes out of love, they will give you bad information, or they will remind you, only 1% people live from this. They don't mean any harm, but their words will hurt you. So I encourage everybody. This is what I did. Your loved ones, love them, but guard yourself from everybody, because at the end of the day, it is a one-on-one thing. And when you're closing your eyes, you're battling that cancer. You're battling everything that comes with it. They're not doing that with you. They will stand with you, but they're not here. That's where your battle is.
It's all good. Going down this highway. 7 more hours to go.
Oh man, R-Chop was funny because I was doing those things. I'm just an enigma. I'm just breaking all the rules, right? So after R-Chop, my first session, and I was going every 21 days, Dr. Bowles and the team would be like, "How you feeling? You feel any chills? No. You having sweats? No. Your hair? Well, obviously your hair is not falling out. Mm-mm. You feel nauseous? Nope." That first week, I had no symptoms. And I really believe they didn't believe me, because he drugged me back in there the next week, like right after the R-Chop, my session, to test me. And like, there's no way he's not feeling anything. I didn't feel anything. And I was saying, oh, this is going to be easy. Second week, got really sick. So it became a pattern. I was going into this pattern that first week, I was good. Second week, didn't feel so good. Third week, the light came on and I felt like I was back. That was my process all the way throughout, like clockwork. Dr. Bowles showed me that, Tony, he said, one of my biggest challenges with my patients is me looking at them and saying, maybe just walk. He said, but I'm looking at a person that never walked in their life. He said, so I have to be realistic and say, if they weren't walking before, it's going to be hard for them to walk afterwards. He said, if everybody would just physically move their body, you're going to move those processes along in your body. Because think about it, chemo is designed to fight cancer, right? But a byproduct of that is it wreaks havoc on your organs. And a lot of people, that's a problem for them, right? It's the organ failure and the organ degradation. And I said to myself, I need a healthy lung, I need a healthy spleen, I need a healthy heart. And the only way I knew to keep those things active was to move myself. And that's what I chose to do. I was walking 5 miles a day, every day. And I was doing my spin trainer 30 minutes a day. And finally, Dr. Bowles said, Tony, you got to pick which one you're going to do. You can't keep doing both. But I had already made a determination that I wasn't going to let those chemicals run through my body, run roughshod in my body, and I not do something about it. So out there walking when I was feeling sick made my other body systems kick in, right? And it made me feel better than just sitting there and letting that chemo just run wild through my body. And doing those push-ups, it gave me something to look forward to. It made me feel defiant, right? You got to be defiant. Like, I'm not going to let you do this. And that's what I did. And as the more I became defiant, the more I started seeing victories. And when I looked sick, it affected everybody around me. They didn't know how to handle me. They were very cautious because it was just so unnerving, because not only did I have cancer, which was evoking something in them, now I physically looked the part, which is evoking something in them. But that first time I went to my doctor after the chemo, and one of my PAs said, Tony, you're losing too much weight. I basically starved cancer. I stopped eating bread, sugar. I only ate greens like spinach and kale. And I said, I'm not giving you anything that you can live off of. And I was losing 6-7 pounds a week. And she was like, you can't do that. You're losing way too much weight. The next time she saw me 2 weeks later, I was at 190 pounds. And she saw me the next week, I was at 205. And I've never stopped. I started doing those push-ups. This is what I did, right? and I start physically challenging myself. Now, you don't have to be that extreme, but I didn't have anything else to do, you know? So I just said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not trying to be anybody Superman or superhero, but you have baseline and then you have extreme. All of us still want the same thing. You still wanted to be cured and healed, right? I did too. You chose that approach. I chose the extreme. But at the end of the day, we all want to get to the same place. Choose what motivates you to get you to that place. That's what I would share. So, anyways, we're going through RCHOP, and my body is responding pretty well. You know, I'm doing the Red Devil. Did you have a Red Devil? We talked, yeah. So had that, doing fine.
Call it strawberry daiquiri.
Who caused it up?
All the nurses.
Oh, that's where it came from?
They call it the red devil.
But you can Google it and it says red devil.
And my body was responding so well. The image that I sent you with my initial scan, if you look on the right-hand side, that's what it looked like when I first walked into the door. That's how bad it was. A couple of weeks later, on the left side, that was my scan after that. And that was like a premature scan because he kind of wanted to see what was going on. You could see how much of that cancer was eradicated, just like that, right? And so I was feeling really good. So on my second round of RCHOP, the nurse said, she come in the room and I see a bunch of needles. And I'm like, whoa, where the bags? So they started giving me some of the injections in the stomach. And I was like, no. And yeah.
What you said about that, Kim? Necessary?
Necessary evil.
Necessary
Absolutely.
evil. Yeah, we getting
But
it
you can
done.
do it. You're a rock star.
So she said, Dr. Bo said, you responded so well. We're going to go with some direct shots. And they was putting half of my chemo in my stomach directly because I could handle it. That's how strong my body was. And but I had a good time. I mean, I bonded with my team doing RCHOP. And I am thankful for every nurse because they are doing God's work. It goes unappreciated sometimes. It goes devalued sometimes, but they work long hours and they legitimately care for you. That is your front line. You're not going to see your oncologists in there with you. You're going to see the nurse, and you're going to see them with you all the way through the end. So don't be nasty and bad to your nurses. Love on them. They're making sure I'm taken care of, and I appreciate that. I remember going upstairs, and I went into the bathroom. I was like, well, I'm going to cut my hair because I cut my hair. In college, I was like the barber. So I used to cut hair for my little side hustles, right? And so I was cutting my hair, and it just started coming out in globs. And I was like, oh. And that's how it happened. It just went just like that. And so I don't have a lot of
you?
Yes. Because your hair is like your badge of honor, right? So to lose that, I felt like this is real. And so I would cover my head a lot. I didn't like the bald look, so I don't have a lot of pictures from that. So I started wearing beanies and things like that and kind of, making it look more stylish, but there was no hair, And so when I started getting my little stubble back, I felt good again. It's kind of like funny how that works. You're defeated when you lose your hair, but when it starts growing back, you are so excited. And even I didn't have a lot of it, I was happy that it was coming back, It was like a victory. It's these small victories that you have, And when things start setting, you start thinking, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. So cherish those moments because any moment that you can have and you can savor, it's a win for you. My message is get checked. Do your yearly checkups, go beyond that. Maybe get your blood analysis done. Take more control of your health. Sometimes if you feel a pain, it's for a reason. Just go get checked out. I was one of those ones that I don't need to go do that. I know what to do. I'm just going to put some ice on it. I'm going to get a massage. I'm going to do this. But no, go get checked out because sometimes there are things that's going on in your body that you can't see that's brewing up that you need to get checked out. Sometimes the basic checkout is not enough. Add extra to that. Get your prostate checked if you're a man. Get the mammogram if you're a woman. Get the blood test done so you can see what's going on chemically in your body. Those things matter. And I would definitely do that over, because I didn't do a great job of that at all.